Boom Devlog 13. Here's what I learned this week while developing Boom Languages, a language learning app. The risk of sounding a little dramatic, it's a spiritual battle. It's crazy how often you can change your mind after you've made your mind up. Influences from all over the place get into your head and drive a wedge between you and what you originally set out to accomplish. So I'm improving a skill, and that is sticking to one thing and not getting distracted. I'm also improving my technical skills. So if none of this works out, at least I'll have these two things. So people tell you to stay focused, don't give up, keep making progress, but how can you do that? What are those tools to avoid the temptation to quit or get distracted and start some other project? So maybe you've heard of Alex Hormozi, maybe you love him, maybe you hate him. He started a bunch of businesses and made a ton of money. He's also lost it all a few times along the way. Everything that he says is not applicable to Boom, which is pretty much in the SaaS industry, I guess, if you were to put it that way. But he has a few quotes that have kept me going recently, so here they are. One thing, all in. So that's pretty intense. He basically says if you're competing with people doing one thing and you're trying to do multiple, you're going to lose at all of the multiple things you're trying to do. So you don't want to quit when things get hard on your project and change projects, because the hard part and getting through it is what sets you apart from any competitors you may have. So it's been tough getting this social login thing working, and I've wanted to change to more fun projects, different projects, but these videos, I have to keep making them, and I have to at least stick to this first sprint that I set out to do. So yeah, it's been tough to stay on track, but I think got to push through, and that's another Hormozi-ism. So you got to push through the hard part, and I guess there's two reasons that this might not exist yet, this particular app idea. Either the execution's really hard, or the idea is terrible, or maybe both. But I'm going to try to review the rough patches as opportunities to push through, and maybe others have had a similar idea but not pushed through. So I'm going to try to take the responsibility on myself to push through the hard part and keep going with this project and not give up on it because it gets tough. Another one was think in hundreds of hours. Just, I'm not even into 100 hours of this most recent attempt at Boom. I definitely did a couple hundred the first iterations, but I think like 300 or so, but that's really nothing in the grand scheme. So I got to reframe my mind. I haven't even put 100 hours into this most recent attempt, so got to keep going. So the technical side, I'll keep it quick. Goals, CRUD was implemented this week, so you can create, read, update, destroy goals. You can see an example here. You can change the skill and the time frame and all that stuff. It's pretty flexible, but it's not really integrated with anything, so that's a backlog task to get it integrated with the dashboard and make it look a little nicer. All the sprint goals that I set out to do for sprint 1 are complete. There are a few little hanger honors at the bottom there that were added midway through the sprint, exporting to mobile and integrating goals into status. So yeah, we'll see if I actually get those done, but deploying the mobile has taken the majority of my time. I actually finished the sprint goals very early last week, and I've had the whole week and a half here to work on this, and it's been a pain. Yeah, I've done 49 commits plus 8 commits, so like 57 total to 2 merge requests, making this attempt, switching from Next.js to Passport, and then all over the place. It's an absolute mess. I'm very close, but I can't get login with Apple working. I'm stuck on this invalid client error. So Passport's really tough to debug, so I might just do it from scratch. I have an example of an old server I did in Rails that did it from scratch with no libraries, just sending pure HTTP requests to Apple. So I might do that. Google, of course, is working fine. Apple is always the problem child, and I do resent them for that. I do. Anyway, next steps. Sprint 2, I'm really not ready for people to be using this yet. I don't feel like something is definitely still missing. There needs to be some kind of flow where it's obvious what to do with this app, because it's getting really complicated, and if you've never seen it before, you probably don't know how to use it. So a feature that could maybe dominate the next sprint is to cement into place a benevolent behavior loop. Now, people are always doing behavior loops in your everyday apps like Instagram or Snapchat, where they want to addict you to their app, but I want this to be benevolent. It's with the intention of getting you hooked on language learning, and it's configurable by the user, so it's not designed to take over your life. It's designed to, get you in the habit of learning a language. So keep them coming back to learn. No friction in knowing what to do. You should be able to open this up, hit the start button, and use notifications to get reminders or whatever. And the start button should tell you exactly what you want to do. Do you want, today you should try this, whether it's logging an activity and timing it, or using an integrated feature right inside of Boom to do some kind of language learning activity. So ideally, users can eventually access the flow state. So it's called the flow feature. Reminds me of the flow state. It would be great if those two were linked. I think it's going to be challenging, but probably the next most important problem to tackle. And that's it for this week. Thank you for tuning in.